Hey, what's up? Hello. Welcome to the 7th episode of the Gaming Saucecast. I'm your host, Kendrick Lukenbach. Joining me today is Todd Buffalino
Hello, hello.
and Jaeger Mitchell.
Hey, what's up?
The hair returns. Welcome back.
The hair is back, guys. The hair is back.
Would you like to get us started, Jaeger, with what you've been playing?
Oh man, I've been playing so much. I've been playing back through the Halo games, and I had this really weird obsession where I really want the legendary achievement so that I can get the Helios Grill armor when Halo 5 comes out. But I've been trying to play through on legendary, and I can do it real easy. It's just, it'll take me like 30 minutes a mission or whatever. But I've been looking at the par time and the par score, and if I'm not meeting the par time and the par score, I'll just restart the mission every single time. So, like a mission that normally I would take like 30 minutes just like casually going through, I have to get in, the 15-minute par score, and I had to get 22,000 points or whatever from doing enough headshots and grenade kills and all that. And honestly, it's so tedious because every single time I mess up, I don't just like go back to a checkpoint. I have to restart the whole thing. So before especially has been pretty hard because there are some really tight times in that game. And there's a lot of tricks you have to do and like look up if you actually want to beat the par score or the par time rather. So it's just been really tedious, like trying to learn these tricks and complete an entire mission basically perfectly, so I can come in under the right time. So I mean, I could get that achievement and just be happy with myself having that armor, but for some reason I have to get all 3 achievements to pop at once at the end of the mission, or I'm not content. Yeah, so there's that. I've also been playing. I played Tales through the Borderlands episodes. I guess 4 and 5 are the ones that are out more recently, and I had a ton of fun. Those are great. I was playing a little bit of Valiant Hearts since I was free. Not my cup of tea, but it's all right. Been playing a little bit of Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, even though I already beat it. I just was trying to see if it was worth picking up the next edition right away or waiting a while. And honestly, I love that game, so I might pick it up sooner than later. Oh man, what else have I been playing? I picked up Sunset Overdrive again. I haven't touched that game in a long time, and I really loved it. So just restarted, got a new profile, had some fun with that game. Trying to think of what else came out recently, because I know I played some new stuff, but honestly, there's just too much to go over. So what have you guys been playing?
I wrapped up the story mode of Shadow of Mordor, the story was okay, but I wasn't really playing it for the story. It was more the combat and the Nemesis system, and that game has now become another podcast game of just going around and continuing to hunt down and kill war chiefs and captains and enjoy the crap out of that. And then I'm thinking I may jump in. I don't know if I want. I don't know if I want to get into Dragon Age, or if I really need another story, another game of swords and English accents, or if I want to play something else. So I haven't decided yet, but because I've got Far Cry 4 and GTA 5 on my backlog to play through. So I don't know what I want to do yet.
Yeah, I need to play Far Cry 4 as well. I had played it at a friend's house on his Xbox 360, and I was honestly really impressed by how much they were pushing that game on the older consoles. So I really want to pick it up on the one and see how much better it looks, because it's a lot better on current gen.
Oh, I'm sure. And it looks cool, but and I want to see that ending of, spoilers. You can end it if you just sit there and wait for Pagan Min to come back after he leaves in the first 15, 20 minutes of the game. So that sounds like fun. I want to try to check that out and play through it, because Far Cry is Far Cry. It's not, it's killing stuff and getting powerful and stuff like that. That seems like a blast.
Yeah.
And other than that, not a whole lot. Just kind of making my way through Shadow of Mordor and enjoying the Batman / Assassin's Creed game that they both should have been. So, it's been fun. How about you, Kendrick? I'm assuming Destiny's was on your radar again.
Yeah, man. Like Taken King, they continue to build on our expectations.
Okay.
Like, no, it's
time. Here we come, part of the podcast.
so yeah. Just unbutton your belts, sit down. So we haven't done a podcast, I think, for like 2 weeks. And in the past 2 weeks, what they've done on Destiny is each Tuesday, Wednesday or so, they've been having these exotic quests for new weapons. So 2 weeks ago, it was the sniper called the Black Spindle, which basically on the daily story mission, they found a hidden hallway you could go down, and it takes you up to a completely different environment for the mission, and you fight this boss that's like a raid level boss. And you finally beat him, you get this exotic called the Black Spindle. No one knew about it when they were playing the campaign that it was even there. So that was super cool to find a hidden sniper, completely different area. You had to be a certain level to beat this boss. It was amazing. And so it's kind of like a trophy. Everyone kind of showed it off. And I think the daily was yesterday. You could get the Black Spindle again. You could go for it. So they've had it 3 times in the past 2 weeks. This other exotic everyone's been obsessed with is called the Sleeper Simulant. It's a heavy fusion rifle. The best way to explain what it is it's a Spartan laser from Halo. That looks like a... Yeah, no, I'm not even kidding you. It's a Spartan...
I know, I see it. It looks pretty cool, though.
Yeah, it's a Spartan laser from Halo, but it bounces off the walls. So then there's even more perks that it bounces out even more.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick. Everyone's been obsessed with it. Like, there was a map on the collector's edition of the journal on like page 52 if you used it in a black light, and it told you the environment you go for it. They dropped the quest for it. We got to run half of it last Tuesday, the other half next Wednesday. It's an awesome gun. It's not top tier, but it was super cool that they got to do it. Dropping weapons like this, hiding quests, is a way that they're just building on this game and giving us new stuff to do every week. Like this week, they brought back Iron Banner, their big multiplayer tournament. They'll be bringing back Trials of Osiris, another high-level multiplayer. Next week is the hard version of the raid that everyone's getting ready for, so that's going to be awesome. My theory was with the hard version of the raid that they were going to drop it on the 27th when Halo comes out, just like the ultimate troll.
I'm so glad they didn't do that.
And my raid buddies, we've been joking about it, whether we were going to be on Halo or if we get together for a raid session. Thankfully, they're doing it next Friday, so we can get the hard raid under our belts, try that out, see how it is. And I'm really excited for it because this new raid, we've gotten so good at it that we can run it 3 times in 3.5 hours on all our characters. So we get together for 3 hours, we run through like clockwork, get it down, and I'm just expecting a lot from the hard raid. I want to kick our ass. I miss playing a new experience, for 8 hours with your buddies and figuring it all out, figuring out how to do it, what kind of weapons we want to run. So that's going to be exciting to see. The major piece of news that came out with Destiny was they introduced emotes for sale. So it's the first of microtransactions that I talked about in a piece a long time ago when they announced that emotes were going to be the collector's edition. They came out. A lot of them are really cool. A lot of them are really high quality. The most expensive ones are for $5 each. It's a slow clap like this, like a golf clap. And then it's the Carlton dance from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Those are the most expensive ones. There's a lot of different cool ones in there. They're like $2, $3. What was the other thing? Yeah, and then when these microtransactions got announced, Kotaku found out that the microtransactions are how they want to fund future updates. So we don't have to pay $20 every 3 months for a new raid or a new mission type or whatever. They're going to update those for free because they're making enough money off their microtransactions. This is the first test of it. What do you guys think about that, about them doing free content going through and they're funding it through cosmetics rather than us paying $20 for a DLC every 3 months?
So is that an idea or is that confirmed?
That is a rumor that's been rumored for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
I
can rest easy with a rumor.
I think Activision's going to hate it.
Well, I would love if they did that. That's a great idea. I mean, that's what Halo's doing is they're funding their DLC for the maps that are coming up by microtransaction and game purchases. But I mean, in Activision's history of their developers, World of Warcraft introduced microtransactions just like this with purely cosmetics. and you can buy a $40 mount or whatever, but you're still going to be paying $15 a month. So, I mean, the idea that they let it through intrigues me, and if they do, that's great for players.
Yeah, that's cool for the guys, for the players who are enjoying it. But I just don't think Activision's going to let it fly because they're not going to. They want their money, and if they think they can squeeze $20 out of every 3 or 4 months out of the people who are still enjoying Destiny, then they're going to do that just because that's what Activision does.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I think that this is what I've been talking about for a while. That Bungie said they want to do free updates. They don't want to do these packs. Activision does. So we'll see who wins.
Yeah.
The little corporate commander there.
Yeah, we'll see who has the true power in that relationship. Is it Activision or is it Bungie? You know.
Yeah.
So Bungie's still an independent, as far as I know. They're still an independent entity, so they can, But they have a contract. But do you think they're regretting that 10-year stint they signed with Activision as opposed to finding some other publisher to go with?
Oh, that's not happening. They would have to pay so much money to Activision.
Oh no, I'm not getting out of it. But do you think they're regretting?
Regretting it. Oh man, so many of them are regretting it. I assure you. Joseph Staten was just like, "I'm out, guys. I'm out."
Yep.
Oh man.
Who regretted it are already gone.
Yep.
Yeah.
See Marty O'Donnell on Gaming Saucecast episode 4 when we talked. About
I mean, it's just so sad that. I mean, obviously Microsoft is a corporate overlord, but you have tiers of corporate overlords, and Activision is like the top rung of shittiness, and you just decide to hop on board for some reason.
I mean, Microsoft has their faults, but at least they were smart enough to leave Bungie alone and let them do their thing.
Yeah, I mean, they let them release Halo 3 ODST and Halo Reach. I mean, if they were the corporate overlords that Bungie was making them out to be, they would have made their last 2 games be core franchise.
Yeah, we'd be on Halo 8 by now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they let them have pure artistic freedom, and that's what like Marty O'Donnell was complaining about when he stopped doing work. Basically, was you guys aren't giving me the freedom to do what we need to do as artists. You're just like kowtowing to the corporate interests of Activision. So I mean, there's obviously a lot more freedom with a publisher that actually cares about developers like Sony or Microsoft than a big thing like EA, even though they're trying to turn around, or Activision.
Well, I think EA is getting better about this stuff because
they're all getting better, but better isn't great.
No, it's not. But I mean, I'm just comparing EA and Activision.
Yeah.
They both they've had their faults, but at least EA is. I mean, they're letting Visceral do whatever the hell they want with the new Star Wars game. Take their sweet ass time with it. They seem to be. EA seem to be. I mean, they have their annual franchises, and they always will have their annual franchises. But
BioWare take their time with Mass Effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Going to come out this year, and they're next year maybe.
So it
got pushed too.
Yeah, it seems that EA is starting to figure it out, and so maybe I think Activision is. They need their next Call of Duty because Call of Duty is kind of waning. I mean, you see that every year with the sales go down. So they need Destiny to be that cash. They need Destiny to be that cash cow, and I don't think Destiny is going to be what they need it to be for them. It's a cool game from what I hear, but at least with this most recent release, it's greatly improved from what it was released a year ago. But it's not going to be. It's not an every year thing that they needed that Activision's built on. That's why I think they're bringing back Guitar Hero and Tony. They tried to bring back Tony Hawk. They need something to sustain them.
Yeah, I think that's why they changed Destiny's business model to begin with, to heavily feature these paid updates and leave out a lot of the main story content from the original game. Because if they had released, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be exactly the same content because they learned a lot from like the PvP and the balancing and how currency works, but just like the story content itself and like levels and stuff. If they had released that all on the disc, then I don't know where Activision would be right now. They'd be 2 years out without any money from that title, and I don't know if they could live with that.
Well, they still would have released DLC. I think it would have been
Different
stronger,
DLC, yeah,
stronger and better DLC.
That's true.
I mean, outside of, and Kendrick, you can speak better to this, but I mean, the first couple of DLC drops with Destiny, weren't they pretty weak and lackluster compared to the Taken King?
Yeah, they were just kind of, and they've come in and said, like, this is the way they started making Taken King when the base game shipped, and these were just kind of like stepping stones to get you along to the next step. They had content, it kept us playing it throughout the year, but it wasn't the next big thing.
Oh, okay. Well, do you think that those initial patches, like the content that they had outside just, fixing things up, do you think that should have been in the initial thing and not spread out? Because, like, Blizzard has done this too with the latest expansion for World of Warcraft. They front-loaded a really great expansion, and then since then they've released one good patch for it in the last year, and their other 2 patches that they've had, one big patch that they claim is big and one small patch about to come out, like they really overhyped the content and overstated how much you're gonna get. And basically it's the same thing as what you get with Destiny, where it's just like these little things to keep you interested. And with Destiny it worked because Destiny was a fresh thing that everybody loved. But with something like World of Warcraft that's kind of on its way out, I mean not fully on its way out, but people are drop and ship steadily. You can't do that to customers. So I mean, do you think that it should have been the initial game?
I think like the DLCs they came out with were new ideas, and I think the main mistake that they could fix, they were updating those like every 6 weeks. So we had updates coming out that fixed like economy things and like gameplay things, along with the DLC packs. And so those were kind of meant to, they were separate from the campaign. You know what I mean? So they were like side quests that weren't in the campaign if they were going to be there.
Yeah. Did they add any significant content, or was it kind of just rehashing things and making it so it was a different way to obtain the same thing?
Like from the DLCs that came out last year?
Yeah. Before Taken King, obviously, because we can all agree that that's a significant upgrade.
So they were standing. Like if they had shipped with the game, they would have been 2 random side quests that got you to different versions of endgame. I think it was just a road for them to add more endgame stuff and then have a campaign to it to address people's problems with story. That's what those were.
Fair enough.
In this pet rescue thing.
So basically,
last night I won like 24 hours time.
Todd, what are you doing?
Sorry.
Go ahead, man.
The other game that I played was the Star Wars Battlefront beta. That dropped. Graphics, amazing. Sound design, amazing. Gameplay, kind of there. From the weapons we played with in the game, the rifles have no recoil. They have unlimited range. A lot of things are overpowered. The Rebels can't win on Hoth. It's almost impossible for them to win. I think if Rebels won, it was like a 7% chance they could win because of the health on the walkers that were going in. That was interesting. A little bit of gameplay tuning there. But the main thing with the Battlefront beta got me thinking is that if this is just a multiplayer game that doesn't have a ton of depth to it, it's going to be another Titanfall, Evolve, Battlefield Hardline, like these multiplayer games that kind of die out. And I'm assuming it's from a beta. This isn't a game that is shipped.
Yeah.
So let me preface that. I'm assuming it's from a beta. But depending on how much ships with this game, and because of the beta, I'm not going to buy it at launch because I want to see the game, I want to see the reviews, I want to see what people are saying about it. I also want to see what those servers look like. These servers were okay. They were alright. Sometimes I couldn't find a game. Sometimes it booted me back up to the menu. So I want to see how those stand up. But once I do, if it's a good game, maybe I buy it around Black Friday on a sale when Episode 7 comes out. But the other thing that they did this week was they announced there's a $50 expansion pass. That's 4 packs, and this is going to be spread out through the year, and we don't know what's in it. So
there's a doesn't include the tie-in content from the movie.
I don't even know. Like that's like they didn't say about it. Like the tie-in thing is one mission that you give to pre-order. I'm assuming that's just going to come with the game. Like it's just going to be there. Mm-hmm. It'll be like when Black Ops says you have to pre-order to get Nuketown. You get Nuketown. You're gonna get it. It's gonna be Nuketown. So, what do you guys think about the pass? Like, I don't agree with that. Problem.
$110 for a game these days. That's bullshit. So I'm gonna start backpedaling my thing of what I just said of EA trying to figure it out, and with this they don't seem to. They're the base game. If that's the case, the base game for $60 better have a ton of maps, a ton of modes, and just be. You want to get those. If it seems short on content at all, then they're gonna get barbecued in public perspective. That game's gonna be a flop, and they're gonna ruin it, and people are gonna be pissed.
Yeah, I don't inherently see any problems with like season passes and DLC, but when you really don't even have the game released, just like Tomb Raider has done. It's not even out yet. You don't know people's reactions. You don't know the install base. All you know is that people love Star Wars, and they're gonna buy. At least some of them are gonna buy this $50 thing. It just kind of front loads the whole thing, so that like down the line, you're gonna get this content. They're gonna keep developing it, and they already have their money. There's no check to how good that content is. There's no check to how much content comes out. All you know is you're buying for a blank, and you're going to get it eventually. With a game like, let's say, the old Halos, Halo 3, let's say, they came out with map packs pretty steadily, but they only did that until their player base no longer existed, and they knew that they weren't going to get a return, and they knew that people weren't in that environment anymore, which was, when Halo Reach came out. They knew that when they released this stuff, it had to be bigger and better each time, and they would keep getting money because people wanted bigger and better. But when you already have their money up front, you're just going to get stuff, and they're just going to keep throwing stuff at you, and you're going to have to accept it because you already paid for it.
Yeah, I mean... And no one is free from this. Bethesda did the same thing with Fallout.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I expect that to be amazing. I expect the expansions to be amazing. But the fact that they even did that was just like, come on now. Like, I get everyone's doing it, but for an EA shooter where they are still delivering the content from Battlefield 4 that people released, that people purchased, and they haven't released 3 packs for Battlefield Hardline that they still have to release, it's not good, because this is still another DICE shooter. This should be treated as a main Battlefront game, and who knows when you're going to get your content? Whether it's oh man, it's Star Wars. They haven't shipped all their content for Hardline yet, so who's to say you're going to get your Battlefront 4 content a year from now? All of it.
Yeah, I really liked how Borderlands 2 had done it, where there was, these things that you could buy initially. You could buy like a pass or whatever. But first off, it was pretty reasonably priced. It was like $30, and they had a date by which all this content was coming out, which was like middle of next year from release. So you knew when it was coming. You knew how much you were getting. You knew like how many characters you were gonna get or whatever, or how many new zones. You knew all that. And in the main game, you still had 120 plus hours of content. So it didn't matter. It was still going to be good content, and you knew you were going to still have fun. But when it's these maps, and you don't know when you're going to get it, you don't know how good the maps are going to be, it's just kind of a really dumb idea to buy this stuff so early. obviously you're going to get some sort of discount, probably like $5-10 from purchasing them all individually, but it doesn't matter if you're never going to play that content because you've already moved on to a new game.
I think it's really silly for a game that hasn't come out yet. We don't know what ships with the game, and then it's just out there. That's a huge price tag, and like a lot of people gave.
Yeah.
Oh man, there was a season pass that was just announced. It was $40, and everyone gave crap for it. And I don't remember what it was. But this one's $50, so that's like the new like club now to hate on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think if that's it for that news story, we can move on to the next one. Yeah?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Cool. The next news story is one that we speculated on a couple weeks ago when the Tokyo Game Show was happening. They dropped the price of the PS4 in Tokyo by $50, and we had speculated that they were going to do it in the U.S. It happened. PlayStation 4 is going to be $350. Some bundles will still be like $380, depending on what games are with it, whether it's special edition console. But the main PS4, $350, the same price as the Xbox One. It's also interesting because this is in the same week that Phil Spencer did an interview where he said that, yeah, we're losing the console war. We're going to do things to come back to it. But he acknowledged that as of right now they're losing the console war and that we also had a PS4 price drop. So what does this do as far as what it means for Sony, what it means for Microsoft? What do you guys think?
I think Sony's gonna as far as sales, they're gonna win this quote unquote generation, but I think it's because Sony's still leading in sales without having, other than that Nathan Drake thing coming out, or it already has come out, the Uncharted collection, is they don't have any games and they're still selling consoles hand over fist. So they're relying on third party, and they're basically in the same position that Microsoft was last go around. So I don't think
Yep.
and with this price drop, they now have price parity with the Xbox. They have the better mind share because people still hate on Microsoft for the mistakes that were made when the Xbox One launched, and Phil Spencer commented on that. He specifically said, you get one shot to make a first impression, and I'm sure there are people out there who still think that the Xbox One needs to be online all the time and you can't play used games on it. And so
Yep.
they're never going to get away from that stigma, and so they have to focus on doing other things to make their console cool, and I think they're still too heavily relying, not heavily relying, but they're still too much built around TV, because I mean they still have, there's going to be a slim version eventually coming out of both these consoles, but they're still going to have to have that HDMI out port to be able to focus on the deals and stuff they made to be on. So it's they're I don't think they're ever gonna, as far as catching Sony with sales, they're never gonna do that, and so they're just gonna have to become they're gonna have to focus on the things that they can control and make the best thing they can make for their current customers, and whatever customers they're able to gain above and beyond that, great. If not, well then, still make the best console you can and best product you can for the people who have paid for it.
Yeah, at this point, really, I'm excited for what's to come, because knowing what PlayStation 3 did when they were in the exact same situation, and they hammered down on exclusive content, exclusive games, and whatever, it makes me really excited, because I know Phil Spencer's having the exact same idea where he's going to build up this huge first-party connection of studios, which hasn't been done for Microsoft before. I mean, they always had first and second-party games, but it just wasn't a huge part of their business model because it had been so successful with the Xbox 360 without it, and just with the couple studios that they've had all along. So this really makes me excited for what's to come, and I already knew that Phil is pretty dedicated to the games coming from the Microsoft Studios background. So obviously, it sucks that it sucks for them as a company that they know that they're not going to catch up, and they know that they're being paired against this behemoth that's just selling so many consoles, no matter, I mean, what games they have, which is purely subjective, of course. And I feel bad for the entire. I feel bad for the team there now, because even though they had some say in what happened, they obviously weren't the final say. They didn't have the final say in what eventually came to that conference that they had to announce the Xbox One and what happened at E3 afterwards. And now they're just trying to reel from that disaster. And they're making huge improvements. They're doing everything they can. I don't know if I completely agree with you saying that they should just scrap TV. Obviously, it's something that's integral to their box, whether or not it should be. And it's something that people use, and it's pretty convenient. And
Well,
if you don't want to use it, you don't have to.
Absolutely, but they can't scrap TV. That's the thing. Even if they wanted to, which I don't think they do, but they can't. They can't get away from it because it's built. It's how the box is built around. Because they want, and they still have a shot to be the one. Because it's even the title. It's Xbox One. They want to be the one thing in their living room, in your living room that you turn on. So that's what the title's about. So it's not about getting scrapping from TV. They just have to, and even Phil, but I don't know if any of you guys saw that interview he did with Think Geek or whatever the hell that convention was that happened last week. But that he said, he even said, it's not about the old regime because he was a part of it. He was there when Matric was when the Xbox One was announced. I mean, he said he's been with Microsoft for like a quarter of a century now, so he's been around for a while. But it's not, he's just the face of it. He's got to just not fix things, but just take it in a different direction. And Microsoft is in a bit of a different situation than Sony is. Sony needs the PlayStation to be successful and be the king of the mountain. Microsoft doesn't. They just need Xbox to be profitable. They don't need it to be number one. They need it to be, as long as the Xbox is profitable, then Microsoft doesn't care how much Sony sells. Sony needs it to survive. Microsoft doesn't need it to survive, and so I think they're thinking Xbox as a platform as opposed to just a game console. That they're thinking, well, they have an Xbox app with Windows 10. They're going to migrate eventually to phones and tablets and be able to integrate all that stuff with their console. So it's not just a matter of where their Xbox is going to be a brand and not just the thing that's in your entertainment center playing video games on. I don't think Sony's going to be able to say that.
Yeah, we've already seen that with like Windows 10 and how they've integrated Xbox, the name, instead of just like a Game Central or a Games Hub. They've really been pushing Xbox as a brand rather than just this thing that you have in your living room.
Mm-hmm. And because it's the one cool brand Microsoft has, because I mean, when you think, there are.
I don't know. Surface is pretty cool.
Well,
but it doesn't have that zing to it like Xbox.
Exactly. It doesn't have. Surface is cool, and it's a cool tablet and cool piece of machinery or cool piece of hardware, but it's not Xbox, and it never will be because Xbox is. It's Xbox. So. It's what they've got to build there, and they're thinking gaming, or not even above and beyond gaming, but they're thinking. I think they see their competition Apple and not necessarily Sony is how I think they see themselves. That's where they want to.
They don't.
Yeah, as
when they started, Sony was the big bad when they started. Because they thought Sony was going to take over the living room, but now they realize that Sony doesn't want to take over the living room. They just want to make a games machine. So, I think the Xbox One kind of was a weird continuation of the initial Xbox, where they were really afraid of Sony, and they still thought that this was something that they needed to do, was take over the entire living room. Which, honestly, I don't know if they have to do that. I don't think that it's necessary for one device to do everything. I think people are perfectly fine with buying multiple things. And especially with Xbox, I mean, your grandma's not going to go out and buy an Xbox just because she wants to watch her TV. So,
no, but
I don't know what they were thinking there.
With more and more people getting away from using actual cable. It's more people these days are streaming. More people these days are buying digital content. More and more people these days are getting away from the traditional cable model of, if it wasn't for the fact that I like sports, I wouldn't have cable. It's because I can't remember the last time. Well, I can't remember the last time I watched it. It was last night watching the football game. It wasn't. I either DVR stuff or I stream it from Netflix, Hulu, or Amazon. So that's what these boxes are built around. It's the digital content. It's the digital future, and so that's what people are, and that's what Microsoft is going for, and not necessarily, it plays games too, as opposed to everything else it can do. You can Skype with grandma on this thing. You can't do that with the PlayStation 4. You can, what I'm saying? That's what I think Microsoft is.
Which I love. I don't see that. I don't see that as the reason to buy. You're gonna buy grandma a Surface or a nice laptop with a camera. You're not gonna buy her something, or you're gonna buy her a TV with a nice camera on it, because they have plenty of TVs that can run Skype. You're not gonna buy grandma an Xbox. Sadly,
of course
I'd
not.
love to see grandma play an Xbox.
I'm not, but my point is that's
no, I get you. Yeah, I get you.
That's their audience. It's not necessarily. It plays games too, is what they're thinking. Not necessarily that its main focus is gaming, and that's what they were. And I think, and it's a couple of I've seen some documentaries and stuff on YouTube that's what they were thinking when they they came into the console space to begin with, back when the original Xbox launched. They were thinking 2015, 2016 down the road, going, we want to get into the living room space and not just a game machine. Kendrick, you look extremely bored. Can we get you entertained, buddy?
No, I'm letting you guys go on.
Are you not entertained?
One thing I was gonna say was it's funny, the war between entertainment and gaming, because from watching the E3 press conferences, I think Sony's trying to catch up on the entertainment space with like their original shows,
they are, definitely.
TV and Sony movie apps and things they're trying to push on that side. And then I think at E3 they spent like 20 minutes talking about Powers, the TV show, and how they were going to team up with like Time Warner customers or something like that.
Because they didn't have any games to show.
They had some kind of like Sony. I think it was Sony and Time Warner were going to have some exclusive app on it, and then people in San Francisco were freaking out because they were going to drop Comcast for Time Warner. And I think they're going for two different things, and I think Sony is kind of going to try to push the entertainment part this year because they don't have games right now. And Xbox is going to put the games to go for it, and it puts them on even ground now, being at the different pricing points. And I think a lot of people aren't saying it right now because it's not out yet, but I think the Windows 10 update and how the computers are going to push Xbox because of that kind of integration is going to be a factor for them this holiday. But I think Sony thinks they need to get the entertainment stuff going on theirs to get even ground, so that eventually, if there's a point where people are saying that they like the entertainment stuff, Sony can say we have that on the PS4 too. I think it is kind of a factor.
I mean, in 3 or 4 Black Fridays from release, you're gonna have just casual people picking up the console, which is why the console sale figures get up so high eventually. Because PS2, people wanted a DVD player in their living room. So I mean, obviously there's a market for casual TV and entertainment, but that's not what you lead with. That's what oh, okay, all my friends that play games really love this thing. They say it's great. I don't necessarily want to play games that often, but it has all these other cool features. I'm gonna pick one up. That happens way down the line. That's why you get 120 million units sold. But at the beginning, it has to be either super casual, like a Wii, or it has to be super hardcore, like PS4 or Xbox 360.
Well, yeah, you have to get the hardcore, and getting us is not. is not as hard as it may seem because we're going to want the new shiny thing because that's just who we are. So, but it's and Microsoft, they have a lot of ground to make up from their even 2 years out from their disastrous launch, and they seem to be making headway in that. They've everything they've done to make it right is they've done to make it right. You know, they dropped the whole, you know, as far as using entertainment. As far as using entertainment apps, you don't need gold anymore. You know, games or, you know, so they've made the right steps to get the system, you know, for the hardcore to be happy. And now they're just doing their own thing these days. And I just don't think they're not concerned about what Sony's doing. They're content with following their plan and moving forward from that. But you know,
I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, they're obviously proud. They're obviously proud of the kid, but you know, it's one of those things where your kid goes and gets like a superior medal or like a blue ribbon or something. You're super happy, but your kid goes out and gets, you know, you participated. Here's an award.
Right.
You're gonna be happy, but you're not gonna pat that kid on the back for that. So, yeah. I mean, obviously they're happy internally, and they're happy compared to their own metrics. I mean, obviously this is doing way better than their previous consoles, even at the point. And that's incredible considering the terrible PR this thing has gotten for the first year, and then continuing with, you know, just a general mindset as a pretty negative connotation. It's incredible how well it's doing, and how well, you know, consoles in general are doing when we were supposed to be killing consoles right now. They were supposed to be dead. So, I mean, it's incredible how well these are selling, but they're still looking at the other guy and going, oh, God, why are they killing us so badly?
Well, I don't think they're wondering why, because they know why. They're trying they know exactly why. But they're trying, and now they're. I think now they're at the point they're trying to figure out what to do next, and I think they're coming to the realization of we can't catch them, so what do we do now? How do we differentiate or become different from, how do we do something that's different from what Sony's doing so we don't seem like we're following them as opposed to, they have the hardcore, now how do we get everybody else? So they'll figure it out.
It's amazing how great that's going to be for the consumer in the long run, though. With somebody trying to play catch up, you always get really good content.
Oh yeah, and with backwards compatibility coming next month, and just all the stuff all the initiatives that they're doing with the system to make it better, it'll pay off for them in the long run. They'll get where they want to be. It's just going to take longer than they expected, I think.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Well,
what do you got for us, Kendrick?
About console wars and all that, and hopefully we don't rehash this stuff as we get to the end here with this next news story, but the NX development kits from Nintendo are starting to get out, and we've got some news from developers reported by, though I think, I'm not even going to quote who it is because I can't remember their name. But developers are saying now that the NX is going to be a console handheld hybrid. It's going to be the next vision of what they thought the Wii U should be. A pairing of a console and a DS together. They're saying that it's on par with the next-gen consoles, so it's running some kind of AMD processor, something that's going to put on next-gen, which is good. And they're envisioning a 2016 release date. So my question is, what do you guys think, that the rumors of what the NX is going to be are true, and then that it's coming out in 2016? Like, since it's a next-gen part, do we see it launch with games like Mass Effect, Destiny 2? Like, are these things that we're going to see launching there? And then what kind of place do these have with console where you can take your controller on the go? Is it going to be like remote play from PS4? Is this something that appeals to the grandmas because it's the next Nintendo thing? What do you think they're envisioning with this, launching it if they launch it next year?
I don't think Nintendo knows what they're envisioning with this yet. I think because it's already been proven that I don't want to play AAA titles on my handheld, and that's why no one bought the Vita. So I mean, I think Nintendo needs to earn the third party back, so they're gonna be reliant on their own IPs, which they have the best first party lineup of any game console manufacturer can hope for, because they've got Mario and Zelda, and that's pretty much all you need. So I think the new Zelda game will come out on it. I think the next Mario game will come out on it, and they'll be just fine. And it'll always. And I think Nintendo is for the next few years is going to be the second console you buy. It's not going to be the first, because they're not going to have third party support like they had in the past, and like they've proven that, because they have to earn back. They have to earn back the trust of the EAs and the Activisions of the world before they start making games for that system, and they have to prove it's going to sell. I mean, Wii U sold nothing, and compared to what the Xbox One and PS4 are selling, so I mean, they have to prove that they can do it before people will flock to them. So whether it launches next year or not, it's not going to have the third-party support that they may want.
Yeah, don't they remember last time that they released the consoles so late into the generation? Like, the GameCube released like a year after the PlayStation 2. The Xbox was released even later than that. And we both know how the GameCube and the Xbox performed, as well as far as console sales go. I just had the numbers here. The top selling game for the GameCube sold 7.5 million units. Top selling for the Xbox sold 8.5 million. Top selling for the PlayStation 2 that came out the year before, 21 million. I mean, double, more than double. It's incredible how important it is to get out there early, especially lately. Maybe, fifth generation, fourth generation of consoles, it didn't matter as much because the technology was always up in the air, and even within a generation, you had huge technological leaps. But right now, they're playing catch up, obviously, because the Wii U was better than last gen. Way worse than current gen, and if the NX is on par, which I can't imagine it being better than current gen, because they could sell that thing for like $600 if it was. I just don't know what they're thinking right now.
Nintendo seems very lost to me, or the past couple of years. It doesn't seem like they know what they want to be anymore, and that's concerning to me, because Nintendo is my childhood, and them. I've said this before. I think there's in the next 5-6 years you're going to see Mario on a Microsoft console and a PlayStation and a Sony console. That's where I think their future is, and becoming a game developer, because they've got the best IPs. And when it comes to gaming, so they can still make an ass ton of money off those, and maybe they're just not. I just don't think they're a console maker anymore. I think this is their last. If the NX fails, then they will become Sega. They will become a third-party developer. They won't be. They'll be out of the console space.
I agree with you. I think that the NX is going to either be their last hurrah, or it's going to be the thing that brings Nintendo back. And not to say that's going to bring them back is that this is going to be your main console. I think a Nintendo console is going to be your secondary console, whether you're an Xbox One player or a PS4 player. But I think that they've held so many cards to their chest that they could have an amazing launch with this. They could launch with a Zelda. They could launch with Star Fox. They could launch with a 3D Mario. Smash Bros. And Mario Kart just came out, and those are beautiful games. And I think if you up-res those and then turn those into services, like services in that it's a $60 product, but they keep adding fighters into Smash Bros., adding characters into Kart to make that closer to Smash Bros. Things they've experimented with on Wii U, but they really go with it on NX. That's a pretty good launch lineup. And then if you get third parties involved where, they're going to be ports of Mirror's Edge, they're going to be Mass Effect Andromeda, they're going to be whatever Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed is, but you got your third-party support there. I think that they've held all their cards to their chest because they're going to come out with a new Metroid. I think they could come out with these on the NX, and not that I think they're going to come out with them at launch, but they could build a very good year, a very good first year for the NX with all the cards they've held to their chest because they don't want them on the Wii U. And I just think it's because the Wii U is not powerful enough.
Yeah, it's sad because it comes at the cost of the Wii U. It comes at the cost of, a year without, these giant franchises that they've been hyping up for their Wii U console that a lot of people have and a lot of people want more games for. and they're just not going to deliver. They're going to wait. They're going to push them out because they don't want to re-release them. That doesn't do well for first-party games historically.
And then one more thing I'll say about the Zelda coming out on the NX and not the Wii U. There was speculation that there's a Twilight Princess HD coming out for the Wii U. I think that's going to be the Zelda you're going to get on the Wii U. I don't think you're going to get the new Zelda on. And if they do, it's going to be like Twilight Princess. You're going to have a less powerful version on the Wii U, and then you're going to get the actual definitive Zelda open world on the NX. And also, they could launch a new Pokemon with this, maybe a Pokemon MMO. Very possible. Take it on the go with you, with your handheld, come home to your hub.
I would hate that so much. But I love Pokemon, so I'd love to see nice new Pokemon.
Yeah, because like I said, I just don't want to play AAA games on the bus. I want to play.
Yeah.
I want to play AAA games on my couch. I want to play,
And I can't see the NX internally being powerful enough to do that. The battery required for that would be laptop batteries, and those have like an 8-hour charge max. So you're not going to be doing what you do with your 3DS or your normal DS. You're not going to be doing the same sort of things, or your new 3DS. I forgot about that one. Yeah, you're not going to be able to do the same things. I'm hugely in favor of an HD Nintendo handheld. I would love that so much because I think the pixels that you get on even a new 3DS screen, it's gross. I don't like looking at it. The games are fun. I love the games. I'd like to see them in HD. I'd like handheld style games in HD. I don't want AAA games on the go, and I don't see that even being a possibility with current technology, unless they're doing, that sort of thing where, like the Surface Book does, where you plug it in and it gets more powerful. It becomes a hardcore console when you plug it in at home into your console base, and it plugs into your TV, play it on your TV. But I don't see how that continues their Wii U vision, because their Wii U vision was you have it in your hand, and it's wireless, and you're playing it on your TV and the thing at the same time. But if it's a sort of thing where you gotta mess around, and when you take it off, it becomes less powerful, and it just becomes a straight handheld, which I like straight handhelds. I'm fine with that. But if it's this thing where there's split resources, I don't see that working. If it's this thing where it's this thing that they're saying is just as powerful as the box you have in a PS4 or an Xbox One, I just don't buy it. I don't buy that they can do that and have it be a sustainable thing that you can take out with you. I do not see that being a real thing.
And you're putting a lot of faith in Nintendo figuring out how the internet works, because the online community, as far as Wii U going, is not existent. I mean, so their game needs to be. They need to have digital content. That's not going to work, right? Because I've never had the last console, Nintendo console I have is the Wii, and that's just because I wanted virtual console games. So, your Nintendo needs to fix a lot about themselves before they fix the Wii U or whatever this NX is going to be. So we will see.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of things. Yeah. I think you need to have a full network infrastructure. I think your handheld has to be on par with best of the best tablets, like 4K display. The buttons on it have to be really high quality. That has to work with a controller. Maybe it doesn't work with every AAA game, but if you can get Mario Kart and Smash running on it and your 3D Mario, maybe that's enough for it. Because I'm going to be honest with you, the best games for your 3DS are Street Pass and games like Animal Crossing and Mario Golf and all that. Those are the fun games to take on the go. And I think if they have games like that, like little app games like that, that could be enough for your little handheld.
If their first-party games do not work on the go with their system, they failed out the gate, and that's probably why they have their whole Nintendo DNA thing. But that they're doing with mobile, so that may be why they had this partnership with DNA to be able to make sure that stuff can work. But so I think they need to make sure their first-party stuff shows the every nook and cranny of this new system to be able to, and why you want to be able to play it this way. And
that new Zelda, That new Zelda game is not going to work on a handheld. No way.
There needs to be
No
some
way.
aspect of that game to work on the handheld.
If they can figure out how to get that to work, that's going to be a heck of a handheld. Because no way could that or Super Mario Galaxy 3 run on a handheld. No way.
Yeah, to be clear, I don't even think that that Zelda thing that they showed, I don't even think that runs on a Wii U. I have no faith in that draw distance. I do not believe that was running on a Wii U. That was a PC.
Yep, that was absolutely a PC game. That was a PC dev kit. And
Which, I mean, it's fair enough. I mean, everybody, I mean, even Halos have been demoed on PC dev kits, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But don't say it's a Wii U game coming out in a year, because it's not a Wii U game coming out in a year.
Well,
you
yeah,
just want people to buy the Wii U.
When they were showing that Zelda game, they weren't ready to talk about whatever NX is. So, and quite frankly, we still don't know what NX is going to be. All these rumors could be be bullshit. It could be Wii U 2 for all we know. So I mean, you know, who knows what any of this stuff is. So I mean, we'll see when once they officially bring it out at D3, officially tell you what it is and what it does, and however they're going to announce this thing officially, because I don't even think they have, other than we're working on something. No one's seen it, no one's touched it, no one's played with it. Who knows what this thing is going to be. So we'll see once they're ready to reveal it what it's actually going to be. But if it's a meld of handheld and console gaming, cool. If they can pull that off, great. But I think they need to. I think for Nintendo to get back to what Nintendo was, they need to get back to basics and stop trying to figure out the next gimmick of what their gaming thing is. They had lightning in a bottle with the Wii, and they've tried to recreate that since every time, and they fell on their face, and so they need to get back to NES, Super NES mindset of we're going to build a gaming console and not try to build a gimmick, and that's what they're trying to do, and I think that's where they're falling. I think that's where they're failing.
Yeah, and to be clear, the Wii U's gimmick failed miserably. It just confused people. They thought, it was an expansion to the Wii. They thought, why in the world do I need this in my house? I don't want some creepy controller thing with the television on it. I don't understand what's happening. And from what we've heard of the rumors of the NX, it sounds way more confusing than the Wii U ever did on paper. So if whatever it is, they better be really confident in their gimmick, because if they don't pull it off, they're done. Like you said, Todd, they're pretty much dead in water at this point as far as home consoles go. And they better is a different story. Mobile's a different story.
But they better be extremely clear about what it is too, and not advertise the crap out of this thing, because that was another fault with the Wii U. No one knew when it was coming out. No one knew what it did. No one knew. It was just they announced it and then it came out a year later. They had no PR behind it, and so good or bad, they just had nothing. I mean, I knew what it was because of who I am, but I was laying in bed one night with the wife, and she goes, "Well, I'd like to get what's the Wii U? Is that just a tablet thing? I can just go, no, honey, it's not. It's an entirely new console." And I had to explain it to her. So it's just they need to be very clear about what this thing is and what it does and why you need to have it.
And it'll happen. Yeah. March, April 2016 do we think that's going to be the announcement? E3? Do they make their return to E3 with a conference? What do you guys think?
I think they do their own thing.
I hope they do.
I think they do their own thing. I don't think, because Nintendo still is Nintendo, so they'll put Reggie on the stage and let him be all spastic and Mickey Mouse-like and tell you why you want to buy this thing, and because Reggie's entertaining, so I'll watch him for an hour or so while he explains to me what the NX is. And I think it's too big. I think a console announcement in this day and age is too big for E3. They need to have the stage all to themselves, because if they flop, then they have then they spotlights on themselves. But if they flop at E3, then everyone's gonna be talking about how Microsoft or Sony won E3, even with Nintendo announcing a console.
Although, to be clear, an E3 conference does get way more coverage than, your niche Nintendo Direct or a niche conference. I have so many friends who watched the E3 after the current gen consoles were announced, but they didn't watch the PS4 opening conference. They didn't watch the Xbox One opening conference. Who cares about those? Who wants to see that? Obviously, they heard about it later by how big of a failure Xbox One's was, but I mean, if it does happen at E3, I think you would get a lot more of, just people knowing about it, which is the biggest problem. Who cares what they think about it at this point? At this point, It's really just getting the word out.
But to your point, Jaeger, I think Nintendo is still Nintendo. They could.
Yeah.
Microsoft and Sony they make a very cool and a great product, but they're not Nintendo. So if Nintendo announced, hey, we're doing a big show in whatever to announce our new thing, the world would watch, and that's just because it's Nintendo and they want to see what Nintendo is going to do next. So Microsoft and Sony can't say the same thing.
Yep. All right. So that's going to be a podcast. I wonder to myself every week. We talk about it. We have a couple news stories here and there. How are we going to fill an hour? Somehow we do it. Somehow people listen to it. They watched it. They don't. Closing, we always do. What do you guys see for GamingSauce.com? What's happening in the gaming world?
I don't know. We're gonna continue to work on our best weapons piece. That should be, hopefully we'll have to get with our fearless leader and see what the plan is with that one. But and
the hairless. That's what I call it.
The hairless leader. Is that what you're going with that one?
Yeah.
So yeah, talk to Lazar and see what's going on there, and get some more video content out there. The review season's hitting hot and heavy, so we're all working on. I'm sure Jaeger's gonna be pumping out that Halo 5 review when it comes out on the 27th. Hopefully, we get a copy of that, and so we'll, so book it, and I'll be up for the next from the 10th to the God knows probably the end of November working on the Fallout 4 review, and so there are things coming. We just got to come up with a game plan for it these days. Kendrick, Jaeger, what do you guys got going on?
Yeah, well, right now I've Activision has gotten me so upset lately. I'm really tired of main Activision at this point. So I've kind of broken apart my big Activision thing into a bunch of separate things about. I don't want to blame just Activision. I want to blame Bungie. I love Bungie, but I'm going to blame them a lot. I'm going to blame Blizzard. I love Blizzard, but oh my god, I've uncovered some pretty stupid things that they've done, and I'm going to put them all into a giant post about the specifics of Activision subsidiaries and how dumb they are. On another note, obviously Halo's coming out, and I'm a huge Halo fan, and I have been testing some ideas for content related to Halo that would go up in a visual format. But right now, that's pretty preliminary, so I don't know how that's going to work out. But if you see it, you see it. What about you, Kendrick?
Well, wait on games. I'm trying to figure out how we should approach the releases that are coming out. Halo, Fallout, Need for Speed, Battlefront. All these games, I'd like for us all to cover them on our own ways, not just a review, not just impressions pieces, just ways for us to talk about the games and then how we're playing them and how we're experiencing them. And then I'd like to somehow figure out how to get those thoughts to go into how we start to pick our game of the year. I think this is going to be the big slow burn right before the huge wave. Like, you feel the earth trembling, you know there's a tsunami coming, and sure enough, it's going to be right here very soon, starting with Halo 5 and then Blops and Fallout and all these games. So, the Saucecast is going to be a great way to hear our thoughts on it, but I'd like to figure out a way for us to just approach content in a cool way. So once again,
you heard it, kids.
This piece at the end.
The climax is coming.
Where we're supposed to talk about what we have bringing out. It kind of turns into a networking piece. So, in closing, thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening to this, thank you for listening with your ears. Subscribe on SoundCloud and iTunes, or your podcast apps, wherever you find it. I, myself, use Beyond Pod on Android, and I find that to be amazing. And you can subscribe to the Gaming Saucecast on there. If you have questions, comments, concerns, just want to talk about life, just send us live questions. It doesn't matter to me. I'll talk to you about your life all day. GamingSauceTV@gmail.com. GamingSauceTV@gmail.com.
Feel free to psychologically profile us. I'm perfectly cool with that.
Yep.
Love you guys. Bye.
All right. Thank you for listening to episode 7 of the Gaming Saucecast.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.